Hi everyone, my name is Habirwan Shakib. Welcome back to the new tutorial. If you are React developer, you know the drill. You start a new project and immediately you are facing with the dozen questions. What router should I use? How do I handle data fetching? What about the server-side rendering and the type safety from end to end? It can be overwhelming. But what if I told you there is a new way, a framework that bring all the best-in-class tools from the TanStack ecosystem like router, query, and more into one cohesive, type-safe, full-stack package. Today, we are diving into the TanStack Start. TanStack Start is a modern meta framework from building web application. It's built on Vite for lightning-fast development and they leverage the full power of TanStack router for the file-based routing, server-side rendering, and deeply integrated the type-safe data loading. In this video, we are going to use the we are using the fully and implemented actually the fully TanStack Start and explore A to Z. And starting with the basic template, and this is a perfect no frills starting point to understand the core concept without any extra noise. At first, we will install it, run it, then do a deep dive into a code to see exactly how it all works. Okay. So, all right, let's first step is to get the project set up in our machine. It's incredibly simple. So, copy this path, go to your directory where you actually want to store. I actually, this is my directory, the learning directory, and I actually paste it here. Okay, then run it. It actually learning, and the project name I also did the start basic. Okay, whatever you want, you can did this here. This is the template. Okay. Okay. Now the server is running, and just like that, it's done. That okay. So click this. Server is running with the basic template, and our TanStack application is running locally. We have a home page, post page, users, and everything is working properly fine out of the box. Now that we have seen it run, let's open this up in our Visual Studio Code and explore how it's all put together. Okay. So open your code base. Okay. So I have got the project open in the VS Code. At the first glance, it's look pretty familiar, right? And especially if you have used it before, you know there is a node module, public folder, and the all important are the SRC folder. That's where we will spend most of our time. So let's start from the top and work our way in. First, the Vite config file, and if you notice something, there is a function TanStack Start. You see, actually, the key thing to notice here is this TanStack Start plugin. This is the magic that where up the file-based routing, server-side rendering, and all the other framework feature for us. You generally won't need to touch this, but it's good to know it's there. Okay. Now let's jump into the SRC folder. There is a heart of our application. Okay. This router.tsx file actually this component is used by our router, which is define the router.ts, right? And this file simply import our generated route tree and creates the router instance that we saw used in the entire file. We don't usually edit this file directly from here, okay? But let me tell you what is happening here first. This is the router tree. This file actually automatically generated the everything for us here. This router tree, and you already see this. They already commented that don't change anything from here. It's override because it's automatically change everything what we write. And this default preload actually the router this preload routes when user hover over the links. Okay, and these two are important. Need to know that these both are custom component. If you see, this is the custom component. Okay, and you call it the global component. the error boundary, and this is the default cache boundary, and this is your not found page, globally managed. Okay, and this will return this router. Actually, what it does here, the file is the central configuration hub that ties together routing, data facing, SSR, and error handling for your entire application. Okay. Okay. This is the most important part, the routes directory. TanStack Start use the file-based routing, which means the structure of your file and folder inside this routes directory maps to the URLs of your application. So let's start with the underscore root. If you are familiar with the Next.js 15, Next.js, then you also know there is a root directory, right? That's similar that, like, okay. This root file define the root layout for all of our pages. Notice the double underscore. That's the convention. This is different from the others. Just just root directory. I mean, this is underscore. And if you are just typing the root.tsx, that this is different. Okay. But if you see there is a head, it actually your head of your documents, and you also define the error component and not found component. Okay, this is your root document, and here you already see the HTML head and head document and body with the links, and there is a little bit here. This is your dev tool. I mean the React Router dev tool, and this is the script. This file actually define the shared UI. Okay, and okay, great. So we also testing this file later, because here is we need to implement lots of things. So just remember, this is the similar with the Next.js. If you are totally new, you don't know Next.js, then just understood this is your main structure where you are actually implemented whatever you create in the future, or we implement any route with the pages, all are implemented in here, because this is your children and this is your head, if you notice, and this head content is your the metadata. This is okay. If you see, this is your head, and this is the metadata, links, others scripting, other scripting part. Okay, so let's move to the next page. Actually, okay, okay. First, the index.tsx file. Actually, this render your home page. If you notice, this is a slash means your home page, and welcome home page. If you go and click here, you see this is a home page. Okay, and this is totally simple things here. If you notice, just this is a component I wrote implemented here, and this create file route, this is a function. This create file actually create a file-based routing factory for given a path used by file-based routing to associate a file with a route. Actually, this return function accepts standard route options. The path is automatically auto managed by generator. Okay. Okay. So okay. Next, we will cover up everything from here. Just understood. This is the API route, and this is your post route. Okay, so let's check this post page. This is your post. All the posts are implemented and loaded from the API. Okay, so in this file, if you notice something here, there is a loader, and it's actually load this fetch, and this is your server function as like the server action from the Next.js. Okay, so this is a server function, and it's fetching the data, and this is the component, and we are fetch the data without any use state or use effect, just using this router dot use loader data hook, and we will easily fetch all the post from this JSON placeholder. I mean directly from the API. Okay. Okay. Also, if you notice something, if you are familiar with the Next.js, actually you already noticed I'm always given a reference with the Next.js because there is a similarity. Okay, and you see we are now in the post.tsx file. This is your post page, but there is a something here, catchy part.
and this is posts dot dollar sign and the post ID. This is the dynamic route. Okay, we will cover up everything later in this single video, and this is I guess 10 to 13 chapter will be. So don't worry, A to Z we will cover in the single in this tutorial. Okay, so this is the dynamic route. This is your API route. Also, in this post, there is a server function. This is the server function, and this all are interesting. So if also this is the app.css, and where you are implemented the tailwind, I mean the configured the tailwind css. Okay, and in later we also implemented the shared CNUI here. So we also cover up this. So now in this router there is a file based routing, and if you notice that this file, there is a post, there is an index. This file actually mean the post slash this under the index, actually specific single page only. This is the all the file, I mean these post route are responsible for everything, and this post route only for this single, I mean the single home page, if you can say, this only responsible for this uh, post home page. Okay, this is your dynamic page, I mean the dynamic post route. Okay, great. So moving to our next chapter, and this is the um, function, I mean the server function. Okay, in this chapter we are moving our data fetching to the server side using the TanStack Start powerful server function. Okay, so let me show you how we create the how we create server side data fetching with the TanStack. So let's at first create our server file, and there is a utility file. You see, so just call this file user dot server.ts. Whatever you want, you can call, like if you want to create a folder, then create the server.ts. Just for understanding purpose, you can do that, no problem. This is not a big issue, but there is something catchy. What is it? When you are using the users.server.ts, this dot server extension is important. It's uh, tells the TanStack Start that this code should only run on the server. Okay, but if you see this file, like go here and click this util, this post, notice we already here they already implemented the server function without using the dot server, but this is specifically mentioned that this file only run on the server only. Okay, so let's create. Okay, let's create our very first server function. This would be the user server functions. Okay, so export const get users. Okay, then create server fn. Call it. It automatically input from the TanStack Start. Then okay, chaining with the handler. This handler, and in this handler we are actually implementing the our logic, main logic. But before handling the logic, we want to chain the validation. So input validator, and in this validator we are using the jot for validation, jot dot object, and in this object we destructure the filter method. But this server function actually it use the method of get. Did you notice something? Automatically suggested you which one you are actually using, and because of this is a type shape, so we want to use the get method. Okay, and in this object we actually use the optional filters with string dot optional. Okay, okay, so I think this is wrong. It would be optional, and just formatting the code. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so what we did, at first we are validation our input value, then now we are actually
implementing our logic here. So in this async function, we actually destructure the data, okay, and then okay, now we are fetching our actual data from somewhere else. So const, it would be a data user list, because a list of user, then await, and we are using the Axios for the HTTP request, and dot get. But Axios is not installed here, so install it first. For this Axios, we actually use the different option here, like an npm install. It's called read Axios. Okay, this package. And now if we try to install Axios, it's actually installing from import read Axios. Okay, now it's working fine. Yeah, then it we are calling the actual API from the user. Okay. Okay, for type safety, we also inject the this is it would be a array, then user, and this user coming from the user utils, from this is our types. Okay, and this is the API. Okay, great. Now here we also check, because we also given a options for the filter, right? So we check if data optional chaining filter, because we are using the async await. So what we did, if const query equal data dot filter dot to lowercase. Okay, so without any issue, then return user list dot filter, and in this filter we actually do callback function, and in this callback function would be a user, and then user dot name dot to lowercase. Okay, and includes the query, great, or the email, and great, then return the user list. Okay, okay, great. Now actually telling you what is happening here. Here we actually create a get server function, given a name the get users, and adding an input validation, and it also accept the filter option. Okay, a filter as a string parameter. Also, this ensure the type safety. This function can only be called with the valid input. Okay, and the handler part, we actually execute the this function, this handler execute on the server only, right? This code run on the server, not the client. So also fetch the data from the JSON placeholder with the help of Axios HTTP request. Okay, then also return a properly typed here. So, and this server function would typically be used with the React query. Okay, so like we also implement the React query and the upcoming chapter. So just remember the concept are similar. Okay, and the beauty of the TanStack Start server function is that they are type safe end to end. You get the TypeScript autocomplete and validation from the client call all the way to the server execution. Okay, this is the get user, and another is single user. This would be the this is the list of users, and this is the single user. Okay. Okay, now let's update our user.txt file to use this server function. Where is it? This is our user.txt. Here, this is our txt file. Not this one, this one. Okay, here I actually implemented this
server function. Then okay. So first export users query options. Okay. Then equal. It would be our filter because filters is our optional, right? And this would be const filter, and this is a optional chain. Okay. Here we actually query options. Okay, query options. It's coming from the React query, but is it installed the React query in our project? So let's check package.json. React query is not installed. So let's install the React query. Okay. So open your terminal, npm run. This is the command. TanStack React query. We also include the dev tool. So go to the actual server and query read docs installation. Okay. So we already use. Okay. For the dev tools, we use this one. Okay. Now also. Okay. Then enter. Something wrong. Okay. Let me check first. Actually, I don't know what is happening here, but when I try single installation and it install without any issue. Okay, anyway, no problem. So after install the React query, so you need to import it from the React TanStack React query. Okay, but we need to configure it first. So open the router. In this router, there we need to import it first. So const query client, we need this. Okay. Then in this query client, we also need the context. Context would be query client. Okay, this one the first. And another also we need something in this router. This would be a setup router. Okay, let me check. Okay, no, not in the router. It would be here. Setup router SSR. This one and this one install. This one import from. Okay, this one importing from the React Router SSR query. So this package also not installed. So open. Okay, npm I install this package. Okay, install it. Yeah. Now the error is gone. In this. Okay, now in this function we are integrate the router and query client. Okay, good. Formatting with the ptr and save this file. Okay, now the next file is underscore root file. Here we also need to include the query client. Okay, here input the query client types. Also we need the dev tools. Okay, then in this create root. Okay, now we already here the configure the create root route, but we change it to create root route with context. Okay, and in this context we actually use the query client, and this query client already. Okay, now after this the bracket. Okay, now the issue solved. Okay, here is the another things we also implement here using the shell component as a root component, right?
but we want to change it to something different, like function root component. Okay, components, and in this component we return the root document. Okay, okay, and in this document we actually check outlet from React router. And what it does, what it do, it actually render the next child match in the route tree. It actually typically use inside a route component to render the nested route. Okay, so this is the component we are written here, and in this in this root component we actually putting here, and it would be a only component. Okay, now great. Okay, also we already installed the React query dev tool, right? So we also need to input it here. So here we already have the React router dev tools. So we set up the another one here. It would be a React dev tool. So go to the server and let's check. Okay, run the server again. Npm run dev. Maybe server is running. Okay, let me check. Okay, run server npm run dev. Server is 3000. Open. Okay, now everything is working fine. Dev tool already here. Okay, great. Now we already set up our, we already configured the React query, right? So, moving to the user. In this user, we are now implementing our actual configuration. The query mutation queries. Okay, the user query, and this in this query options, it would be okay. Now the first is query key. Obviously, it would be a not this. Okay, query key is the users, and the optional is the filter. But in this filter, we actually maybe it would be a filter or empty string. So for this, we are using So this is the filter, and if the filter is available, otherwise it would be an empty string. Okay. Next is the query of function. This is a callback function, and callback function will be get user. Get user coming from the user server, and in the options will be data and filter. Okay, just a simple thing here, not fancy, not too much fancy, because just simply we are fetching the data from the server function. Okay, and another one is the this one, just single get user. Okay, great. This is the list of users. This is a single user. Okay, here is something. Actually, the beautiful thing here is that we are calling this server function directly from our query option. Did you notice here? Then start handle all this serialization and the RPC communication automatically. Notice how the query key remain the same. React queries caching still work perfectly. Okay. Okay. Now open the user route. User route. Okay, actually this is from the routes users. Here we actually now implement here directly implemented using the fetch, right? But we are using the server function. So just this is the loader where this loader actually helps. Actually, this loader, what it does, it's run before your component is rendered, typically on the server. Okay, actually it's prefetch data, so it's immediately available when the components is load, and this is the component. Okay, it's responsible for render the component or component. Okay, so now we don't need all in here together. So just think async, we restructure the context, and from this context we actually await, because we use the async, await context dot query client, then ensure the query data, insert the query data, not infinite query data, only query data. And in this query data, we call the users query options. Okay, and that's it. Nothing fancy. It not received anything. Okay, what it telling us? Except one argument. It just there is a filter. Okay, so let's check. It telling except one argument, but we didn't pass anything. So go here. Okay, we didn't given as a optional chaining. That's why it's problem. So save it. Go here. Maybe it's resolved. Okay, now here is the error. Another error showing that the void must be okay. It's showing because of const data directly calling this. That's why. So return the data, and now the error is gone. Okay, let's check. Go to your terminal. Sorry, browser, and refresh. Everything is fine. Navigate the user. Yes, user is loaded. Check the API. Yes, our user query key with the filter option, and the data is loaded properly. Okay, great. Everything is working fine. Reload. Okay, it's fine. Okay, now we actually we can do something here if we want to modify. Like, just think if you want to validate the search, if you are interested. So we also can do this, like validate search with sort object. Okay, in this object we are query the string and optional. Okay, just as like we did before. Okay, great. Now for this query, we actually modify something here. The UI part actually also modifying. It would be a great because if the current UI is not good, the error is showing because we are implemented here. So no problem. We restart server. Before restarting our server, we just modify it here. Just think. Just comment this. Now const query initially will be a empty string, then router.search. Okay, and also const users query equal use query. Yes, use query, not this use query hook. And then okay, and the query option will be only our query. This is not the structure, just query, and that's it. Okay, now also we want to navigate. So const router use router from the React router. Okay, then something this, because we actually didn't, our main intention is not to implement the UI part also. Just this was for just better UX. It would be a good looking for. Okay, and also use the skeleton because we are using the interval. It's taking a little bit time for little bit 300 milliseconds. Okay, if there is any empty string, then we use this. This is our skeleton. If is empty, if the user query data and the user query data length is empty, then something happening, and also manage our error handling. So if there is any error, then show this error message. Okay, and the UI part, we not discussing in depth this UI part because this is not our actual topic today. Just the UI, and we also use the outlet because we know for the nested implementation we need this. Okay, now run the server again. Yeah, great. Okay, now it's looks good. Little bit you can say. You see, we also check the individual user. We also see it here, right? Okay, great. Okay, great. Now also we already implement the filter option, right? We also already implement the filter option. If you see, isn't it? We implement the query from the use search. So something search here. Also open this notice here. Okay, something called Chelsea. You see, the API is called every time, but after 300 milliseconds. Okay, not immediately. Notice, not immediately. Okay, okay, great. That means our validation part working properly fine. Data fetching also working properly fine, right? Okay. And here we actually, you see, just little bit implementation, the use effect only for the set interval. Otherwise, the other part is you may be understood. Just calling the use query, and in this use query, we actually call the in the pass the argument as a use query options. Okay, and great. Now, so actually, what is happening here? If I telling you, we did what we did, we gain by moving to server function. API keys and the sensitive logic stay on the server. Okay, they never reach the client bundle. And for the performance based server side filtering, reduce the data sent over the network. User with slow connection will notice the difference. Okay, for type safety, you already noticed how much it is type safety, because the we also validate the type from the server, right? Actually, this input validator ensure we can't call our function with invalid data, right? Also, the our function definition work for both server side rendering and the client side queries, right? This function, actually our function is already been server, right? Already in the server, and we also calling in the client side with the filter method, and it's working properly fine. Okay, now we just implement the user list of user. Now we are implementing the dynamic user from dynamic route. So go to your dynamic route, user dot $sign user ID. Okay, here almost similar, we are querying, but we need to pass something from here. Just copy this code, come here, and in this loader we actually implement the user query option, right? No, it's not. Actually, we are passing this. Okay, this would be our user, and it accept the user ID. And how we get the user ID? We get the user ID from the params. Params, we get the user ID. And something you need to know, that when you are trying to check some, suppose you notice that it suggests you that there is a user ID is available, and because of the type set. Okay, now for the error component, we already use our custom component from this template. This is the error user error component, and also the user component, and notice this is a specific not found page only for this dynamic route, and we also have a global not found page, right? But this is the only for this page. Okay, now because we already load the data from the server using our server function, we already have the error component and main component and the not found component. So but the error component is coming from the SRC component user error, right? So check this component first, and this is okay. Now it's working. Okay, now for the user component, we also use, did you see, this is loaded from the use loader data hook, right? But we also need the params for querying every time, because if we try to every time the fetch data from the server, so we also need something here. So what is it? Const params equal use params. Okay, then const user query user query, and in this query we actually, not this one, user query and use query, it's coming from the use query query react query, and in this inquiry, okay, we pass this user query option with the params ID. Okay, then we get the user, and there is nothing wrong for something. If we want to render the loading method or something, or we want to check the error. So we can did this, just putting it here. Okay, remove them. Okay, now if user is loading, then showing the loading error, showing the loading message, otherwise the error message, or everything is fine, then we load um, our actual user. Okay, just for that I use the little bit of UI implementation. Maybe this is, it would be looks good. Okay, and link from React router. Okay, save. Go. Okay, we need to restart our server again. Run. Let's check. Okay, now whenever we are going to this user list, maybe /1, you see user 1, notice user 2, and maybe some color issue here. Okay, let me fix it first. Where it is? Okay, I just changed the hover color and the active color. Now it's little bit good. Okay, okay, user and the user option, and we already get the user list. Okay, great. Now, okay, everything is fine. Everything we get as we wish, right? We already know how to fetch data, right? I mean, data fetching using the server function. So we already implemented the list of user and the single user, right? So we are moving forward to implement the full CRUD operation. So that's why now we are creating our create function using the post method. So export const create user. Okay. So in this create user, the method is post, and so also we are chaining with the input validator, and in this input validator will be the object, and in the object we actually passing our parameter, actually the how many field we have, like the name will be string, right? And email will be string. But so maybe okay, here something we also implement, right? The string, and this string have a minimum requirement is 1. Also the message will be name is required. Okay, so as like email before, okay, pass at first implement this, then telling you this something here. Actually mean email will be verified. Okay, sorry. Let's check the package.json file. Our Zod is version 3, but remember here, if your Zod version is 4, not 3, if 4, then you must be must be seen this, there is a deprecated or something here, so delete sign. So always then try this and passing the email. Right now this is just a email because the older version. So use the string and the email will be the invalid email address. Okay, then our logic is handler and data. So in this handler we actually passing our API. Okay, this API actually didn't work properly because we just showing the placeholder here, but actual API pass the post method also, right? They send the request. Okay, anyway, so the name equal to data dot name and email, then return the response data. Okay, so as like it is, so we also implement the update and delete, same, exactly same way. Just implement, because we don't need to implement all of don't need to write everything here, right? Okay, good. Now it's okay. Okay, so maybe you notice something, every function follow the same pattern. Notice every function, the create user, update user, or delete user, whatever it is. First chaining is the input validator, second is the handler. In this handler we are implementing our logic.
In the sometimes it's some logic is the post method, some is the get method. Okay. Okay, now this server function are consumed in our new route components. Okay, so that's why we try to implement the route. This is our user route, right? So we need separate route. So create new route. Okay, create our new file. Remember, right now I'm using user.index or dynamic route path. Okay, but if you are not interested to using this method, like the extension, this extension type, you can also use the folder path. Like you create the user, then in this user you create a new or dynamic route for this just $sign user path or index, whatever you want to call it, right? So I just given a user dot new dot tsx. Okay, did you notice something? These code are automatically generated and the route path also generated, right? Okay, okay, so this is okay, there is no problem, everything is fine. Now in this route we actually create send a request, right, from client side to server side. So at first, okay, const router, this router coming from React router, then const the query client, this query client will coming from React query. Use query client. Use query client. Okay. Then also create a few state. It would be helpful because for the form mutation, like const name, set name. Okay, as like email, and another is the const error. We also handling our error, set error. Okay, and this is a great example. Okay, good. Then now we are muted our actual implementation, the mutation part. Const mutation equal use mutation coming from React router. Okay, then the mutation function will be a async function, I mean the callback function. Also now they validate locally before hitting the server. Okay, so that's why we use const schema just for now, because this is a very basic part, very basic mutation, because otherwise we don't implement oftenly the schema here in this mutation part. Okay, it would be a separate schema equal j dot object dot object, and this object will be name and email. Okay, then parts this schema dot the save parts with the name and email. Okay, great. So now we already implement the schema, parts it, right? Now we check our success part, and this is the success part. If the success is not success, okay, so then we send the error, not like this. It would be a const message will be parts dot error dot issue. Okay, and the issue the first element from the array, then optional chaining if there is an issue problem. Okay, will be the message. Otherwise the input invalid input. Okay, then throw an error, okay, great. Now return the create function, create user from user, and this is our user. Oh, okay, this not be like that, because it would be our destructure part. So data is the email, or we can pass not like that, we can pass parts dot data. Okay, fully fully typed, right? This is our mutation, right? Now the mutation part is done. Now the success part. On success. On success will be the okay. So it would be first await. Await because this would be async function. Async. Then await the query client dot invalid. Okay. What would be the invalid? Invalid would be the query key and the key name is users, right? There is no problem. After user is created, then we are navigate to user page because we don't need to stay in the new route, right? Okay, great. So our success route is done. Now on error. This error is simple, very simple. I didn't say anything here, just simply putting the error message. Okay, great. For the UI, just copy and paste. Okay, and coming from its import from React router. Okay, so go to your server. Before we are moving, we need to restart our server because whenever we do something in our router part, we need to restart the server. Otherwise, it's not working right now. So reload. Okay, user new. There is no new. Just go /new. Something problem. Some problem is showing here. Let's see what is happening here. Okay, invalid state controller is already closed. Okay, fix it. Okay. Okay. There is a mistake. This is a user, but our main function is users, right? Okay. So I actually did something here. So normal users. Okay. So this also be a users, right? So implement it first, modify it, then users. Okay. Now go to the browser, then new. Here is something, but not showing here. Why? Okay. We will check it first, but we already implemented the form mutation part, right? So go to the users, and here somewhere else we are putting the button element. So for the route will be showing, otherwise not showing. Just put this link button, update it. This is this link and show this link actually show this new. I mean the mutation part actually. The button click now this form are visible. Okay. Okay, we need little bit styling here. I just skip this part. You can do it yourself. So for this scenario, we create something, right? So just this is our mutation part. Okay, remember in the console we also check console hour, no problem. But before we checking, we can also check from here something, right? New user, then user@email.com. Create. Notice implement it, and the route is changed. Okay, and you notice this is message is successful, and this is the mutation code. If you see in the network mode, it also implement properly where it is. Okay, we can implement again. So we can check user admin @email.com. email.com. Okay, now this is our payload result. See, okay, maybe this one. Okay, because this is a server function, so we didn't see anything like that. But in our console from here, you notice this. Or we can, if we want to see is it working fine or not, then we can do something here for the console log, right? Like here, this is our create, right? This is the create function. Where is the create? Just cancel. Okay. Console log it. Create handler. Okay. This is the user ID. Okay.
the create server function, update user. Okay, not update. We want to check this here. Console log data.name. Okay, just let me check this first. Okay, now go to create another. Name would be React RC email.com. Okay, cut this. Mutation done. Terminal. This creating user React. Did you see? It's working properly fine. Okay, great. Now implement the update and delete method. Okay, when we click this any of the user, so we also include the update and delete button here, and also implement the logic. So here, okay, go to the single user, I mean the dynamic route. Then this is our update and back. Just collapse. Then copy this code. Okay. Just for now, this is not really good. Okay, 70. Blue is okay, not gray. Okay. So implement our mutation part now. For mutation, okay, there is the create edit user is okay. Edit will be the user ID, then param the user ID, right? So we also need the edit route. Otherwise, this error are showing because there is no edit route are available, right? Okay. Okay. Before we are moving, just comment this this code only right now. Just only this code. We implement the delete mutation first, then we implement our edit mutation. Okay. For the delete mutation, coming here, where is our query key? This is our query, right? So this query, we already passed this. So also we need the client. We also need the query client. Okay. So that's why just use it. Query client. Okay. Then here const the delete mutation from use mutation coming from React router. Sorry, React query. Then in this mutation, the mutation function will be async. Okay, in async function, the query client will be remove first. We optimistically remove the cache and navigate back to list. Okay, so first we remove queries. Okay, then we are tested this user ID will be the param dot user ID. Okay, great. Now our query client is okay. Now we need okay our query client now await query client dot invalid. Now we check the invalid queries. Okay, in this invalid query we are checking the query key of the user, right? Great. Also, when our user is checked, then we also check get back for the navigation list for window dot history back. Okay, and that's it. And delete part is maybe implemented. Yeah. So go to your server, browser. Again, restart the server, then browser, reload it. You see? Okay. Open the mutation, delete. It's work, right? It's work. Now you might be thinking, when we are creating a user, why it's not showing here? Because we didn't store it anywhere. Not local server. I mean, sorry, not local store, not even our database. Just we are testing out that our API and our logic are working or not. Our logic are working fine, right? So that's why yeah, we are testing from the TanStack dev tools. Okay, I mean the React query dev tool. Yeah. Okay, great. This is working fine. User list. Okay, great. Now we implement the edit. Okay. Okay, create new route. This route is different. Carefully check. Users dot dollar sign user ID. Okay, then dot then edit dot tsx. Okay, because we need to follow the convention. The first user, then the dynamic ID, then edit, then tsx file, and it's generate. Okay, just for now I copy the whole code. Okay, now you see similar. There is no difference between both of them, the user ID and the edit page, because both are same. Just we are implemented the mutation part here, because this mutation also the same as like post mutation, because if you see there is only two method are available, post and put. For updating we are implementing the post method only, right? So okay, and where is the error? Maybe for did you mean okay level? Okay, what is the problem? Okay, now it's okay. Okay, now it's okay. You see in this mutation as exactly same, the mutation function create a schema that parse, check the success, set the condition for if not success, then throw an arrow, then return the update user. See, update user, in this update user with the params ID and the rest of the parts. Okay, after the success, the query client based on the key and the ID, then it's update. It's get the update. Okay, and then check the invalid queries after and finally we are we are back to the user detail space. Okay, and others part are rest of the code are same. This code are same. Okay, so come here, maybe we need to update. Okay, it's working fine. Oh, okay, we something. Okay, now comment out, save, go. Yeah, there is the edit part. See, so after we are editing anything, something, so we need also show the form. Okay, so just right now I skip this part. This is your homework. You can implement it. Okay, great. Now that you have already mastered basic data fetching and the mutation, it's time to tackle the more complex scenario that you will encounter in real world application. We will exploring the two powerful data fetching pattern. The first is the parallel queries. Second is the infinite scrolling. For parallel queries, we check actually we implement how to fetch multiple independent data sources simultaneously. Second, how to efficiently load paginated data as the user scroll. Okay, these patterns are crucial for building high performance user friendly application. So before we start, just imagine a dashboard that need to display data from several different sources, say a list of users and a list of recent posts, right? So you could fetch them on one after another, but that's inefficient. Okay, a much better approach is to fetch them in parallel way. So just for the parallel, we create a new route called parallel.tsx. tsx. Enter. The parallel server is create. Okay, we actually didn't do too much work here because this is simple thing. Const result will be use queries, and in this use query we are checking queries, and the query will be, suppose we have a post query. I think we only implement the user query, right? Suppose user query, users query, right? We only have users query, but we also need the another query, so otherwise we don't know how it's work properly. So give me a second. I also implement the post query, then putting it here. Okay, I just implemented the post. So I mean this was the post server function. Not to nothing new here because we already seen the how to fetch single and multiple, create, update, and delete. Not too fancy. Okay. Then we are implemented it the router page and the dynamic route. Here is a new thing are implemented, but before also okay. Here is a new thing. You see in the post, I mean the dynamic route, we implement the head, I mean metadata, because every post have a title. So in the metadata, we load the title from the loader data. Okay. So this is the new. Others everything is same. So in the parallel, we also input the post query. Post query. Okay. Then after include the query option, the post query and the user query, we destructure post query and the user query. Okay. And if you see, is declare but not used, but here we already have the data. Okay. Anyway, so copy and the basic UI. Okay. Post result and the user result. Okay, great. Also, in the post route, actually update this, otherwise it's confusing us. Post dot server dot ts file. Post dot server dot ts file. Okay, great. Now there is no confusion. Okay, in the post route, if you notice, I just implement the search. You see the search. In the from the search, destructure the page. There is a limit is 10. Then in the post query, there is a two parameter we can pass as argument is the page and the limit. Okay. So if go there, you see this is the post and page query key. Then the data is the page and limit. I mean the limit and the page. And the after the query function will be the data, the page and limit. Okay. Then just create a function, the go to page. It's navigate the next page, right? Page next. And this would be the URL. There is no problem. And here we are we are listed the data from the post query data. Then if there is a hash preview more than one, actually this is just a basic pagination format I implement, and this is the pagination part, previous and next. Okay. Now go to your server, check everything is, yeah. You see this data, open the dev tool, click, data is second page, again third page, again fourth page, okay, again fifth page. Everything is working, right? Now go back. Now okay, again everything is fine. Loading post, right? Click here. You see we are in the 51 post ID. We already navigate this post route, but still our post is here. Also the details post is here. This is happening only for the outer component from the TanStack Start. That's why it's happening here. Okay. Otherwise, we are navigating the page. We didn't see this here. Okay. And this is interesting. Okay, great. We also go to the in-depth. Then it's moving to the in-depth. You see? In-depth. Then it's moving to the in-depth page. Okay, great. This approach is incredibly powerful because both data fetches are initiated at the same time. Rather, one blocks the others, leading to a much faster load time for user load time for your user. But we just testing from the post page, right? But we already create the parallel page, right? We didn't show it here. So go to your root and here post, maybe here post, no, this one, okay, parallel, parallel. Okay, save it, and this would be a parallel. Go, this is a parallel. You see, post 10, user 10. All data are posted here. Notice 10 post 10. Also, how remove it, reload. You see, parallelly loaded. Post and paste all together. Great. Okay. Next up is infinite scrolling. This is a common pattern for long list of data like a social media feed or a blog. Instead of loading hundreds of items at once, we load them in similar chunk or pages as the user needs them. Okay. So let's create the page first. It would be a post dot infinite dot tsx. Okay. Here, just copy this, go to here, infinite. Okay. Okay, great. Now remove others. Okay, in this infinite page, okay, the route component here we are using the infinite hooks. Okay, and fetch data from our server type coming from the post server. And okay, you see here this is the limit. Then we are using the infinite query loop, query hook, and in this hook actually key is the ports, and this is the infinite, and the limit will be coming from here. Initially page will be the first page naturally, right? And the query function, the page param will be 1, and the in this page we just little bit storing the type the param. If this page equals the number, then show the param page param, otherwise the number with the page param. Our default is 1, and then return the post list of post. Okay, and this is the get next page param. This is happening only for infinite loop. Okay, so last page and the all pages, and this would be the page dot length equal limit. If this is true, this condition is true, then it increase the number, otherwise is undefined. Initially it should be undefined, then we are increasing the number whenever we scroll or click the loading button. Okay, then just here, this is the button. Okay, in this button, just this is the loading button. If you see, this is a loading button, load more or no more post, and just not too much complicated here. Just on click we are we are hitting the infinite query the fetch the next page, otherwise it's disable if there is no page available. Okay, and the when it's fetching data, and it's based on this scenario, the text also change. Okay, great. Now open your server, infinite. You see, okay, before we did something, we just improve the API. This is the back button, and this is the gray 700. Okay, great. Now see, when I click this, it's moving to the next page because here this is the post route. Notice? Okay, go the infinity, and now check clear. Data is loaded. You see, data is loaded. Okay, great, great. Also, change the text is loading. Notice? And whenever you hover it, it also highlighted. Anyway, our loading method also implemented, right? Whenever we load, we are in the second page. Did you notice? Back to the post. Okay, great. Something here happening actually. There is a bit more going on here, right? You see, there is a bit more going on here, right? So the hook actually returns some very useful property for the fetch the next page. Where it is? This one, the fetch the next page, is the function we call to load the next page, and has next page actually they tell us if there is a more data available or not, and the is fetch next data actually next page actually is a perfect for showing a loading spanner. Okay, great. Okay, we already test the parallel and the infinite. Everything is working fine. Good, great. So moving to our next chapter. Now we unlock some of the most powerful feature of modern web framework, and this is the server-side rendering, streaming with suspense, and the robust error handling. So first, create the SSR dot users dot ESX. We are implementing for our user, okay? SSR, server-side rendering. Actually, the by default, TanStack Start renders your application on the server. This means the initial HTML sent to the browser includes the fully rendered content, which is great for performance and SEO. Okay, so okay, okay. So the loader actually, if you see this loader actually prefetch the user on the server with the HTML includes the data, right? And for now we can use the metadata if for just rendering the title, okay, the SSR users. Actually, this is the server component, right? Because it's totally rendered in the server. And right now, previously in our user profile, user, if we check, you see we actually implement the React use query, right? But now we are using the use suspense query, okay? And okay, this is not the correct path. It would be a 10 stack. Okay, now it's fine. You see, we are using the use suspense query. But first thing, one thing remember that when we are using the suspense query, we can't access the error handling and the is loading. I mean, this part, like we are using the error and the is loading. When we are using the use query hook, we get the access the is loading and is fetching. I mean, the error handling the additional utilities. Okay, but when we are using the suspense query, we can get to access it. Okay, actually, what is happening here? If I clearly say the key here is the loader function. Okay, this loader function. Before the component is rendered on the server, the loader is executed. Inside, we use the query client prefetch. Okay, this query client and it's prefetch to fetch our user data. Then in the component, in this component, we actually use the use suspense query. We'll find that data has already been fetched and is in the cache. This means it can render the component synchronously on the server without loading state. The result is a fully formed HTML page sent directly to the browser. Okay, and that's it. And if for the UI purpose, if we include, this is the UI. Okay, okay, that's it. And if you see, just simple UI and go to your, this is the server SSR user. So open your root, pass the SSR, suppose here, okay, SSR, and this is SSR. Okay, go to your server and you see SSR, and this is render, all by default render. Okay, you see this is the user data and it's immediately render. Notice there is no loading effect. It's prefetch first, then the suspend query uh, implement. Okay, now moving to our next topic is the streaming. Actually, okay, create the streaming file. streaming dot tsx. Okay. Okay. But what if some of your data is slow to load? You don't want a single slow query to block the entire page. That's where the streaming and the suspense comes in. Okay. So let's create the streaming code first. It would be helpful for the understanding. Okay. Okay. For the slow code, we actually use this query and then okay. You see, we are using the uh, that timeout. So it's actually intentionally slowing our content, right? Simulate a slow server function, right? And then we um, just render the data. And okay, first of all, we also use the head just for looking good, not no other intention. So this is our meta, okay? And there is some code data render, okay, right? Maybe think mm, like this is the root component. So this is our main component, but just change this for, now with this component is streaming component, okay? And this streaming component will be here, and the first content, I mean the first content component will be here, okay? And this is the substance from React. Now the slow content, for the slow content, this component, check. And this is the query where the actual data will be rendered, right? Okay. See, again, this is our main component. Actually, the component load will be the streaming component. In this component, we have a fast content that are immediately load, and in this suspense boundary, we actually use the slow content. And in this slow content will be the this component, right? This suspense query. And so go to your server. Okay, let's add it first. SSR. Okay, not here. Copy streaming, and this will be a streaming. Okay, also. Okay, let's check streaming. You see, it's loading and now slow and now loaded. This was immediately load and this was the slow load. And this is really helpful when we intentionally or unintentionally try to load the some fast data or few data coming from directly from the API after the validation or verification purpose. Okay, so these two are commonly used, and this is we are most of the time using. So this is a good practice. Try to understand, and this is a very good example. If you really understand this code, how it's happening here, what is happening here, and you are great, and you never be facing in the future any types of problem when you are using this suspense, or do you have any types of issue with this suspense related. Okay, great. Now the error boundary. So just create error demo.tsx and just implemented this code. Remove this. Okay, let's see what is here. This is your error. I mean, this is the validate search. Okay, and this is your head, and this is the error boundary component, and this is your error demo component. Remember, this is your error demo page component, and it's showing here. Remember, one is the component are loaded in the demo error. I mean, this demo page. Another is the error component that are only showing when there is a error are available. Otherwise, the regular component are showing. Okay. So let's check. This code are regular code. There is no logical implemented. Okay. Just here is something happening. The reset. This reset coming from here. This error boundary. Okay. This error boundary and nothing more. Okay. And this will be the when this resolve. I mean the pass true. It's automatically show the success message. Okay. So go to here. Pass. I mean somewhere else. Maybe here. Okay. Deferred. Okay. Here's the uh, error demo. Error demo. Okay. There is the error demo. Notice it's showing there is an error.
Okay, this is the error. But after when we click this resolve, you see this is success message. Success message are showing. This is success message means this success component. If you see here, this is the success component. Yeah, this is the success component. I hope you got it, because this component is the actual component you want to show for the user, and this is the boundary when the error are showing. Got it? Actually, if I explain it theoretically, it would be in this router, the loader, we are intentionally throwing an error. Okay, intentionally. There is no loader. Did you see? There is no loader. And normally this would crash our apps, but because we are defining an error component here, you see there is an error component. And TanStack router will catch the error and render our custom error component instead. This allows you to create a much better user experience when things go wrong. You can display a friendly message, a button to retry, or log the error to a reporting server. Okay, and this is a very good example. Okay, great. Okay, okay. We already cover up most of the feature. Now we are driving into the next part, and this is the basic authentication setup with, yeah, sign in, sign up, sign in, and protected route, log out. Okay, we are implementing this. So close all of this. Now create, before we are implementing the UI, we actually implement the server part first. So auth.server.ts. Okay, in this TS file, we actually check, first create the type. Type is session equal token. Token will be string, and then user will be object. ID is string now, and email, yeah, email is a string, and name is a string. Okay, this is our types. And the session, actually this is in memory session is for the demonstration purpose. This is the in memory session we are using the demonstration purpose with the map instance. Okay, this will be a first is the strings, and this second is the session. Okay, and for the login input we are validating with the jot, and this jot coming from jot. Okay, so this will be a dot string. Okay, yes, it's fine. Now this is our login. For the create function, export const login user will be create uh, create server event function, right? And this will be destructure the method. Method will be post, because we are sending the request. Then dot invalid, and we are invalidating the data. Okay, so this will be data. Right now there is no data available, so use this data is unknown with login input parts the data. Okay, for the handler we actually use this code, and then this. Okay, you see this handler destructure the data is get the parameter as a email and password. Just demonstration purpose using the hard code, the username and password. And if this is not correct, then throw error. Otherwise, the token generate randomly, and the session we get the session from, and then store it this here. And after the session and the user is stored, then pass and set this value with token and session, and then return this. And this is the simple explanation, and it's working fine properly for demonstration. And the token input, the schema is this. And for getting the current user, it would be a post method also. We get the current user. So let's check. Similar, there is no differentiate here because consistency is the key. This consistency you see the current user
we get the current user with the token input, right? From token, and then we get the session from this token. If session is not exist, then throw an error, and otherwise return the session user, right? And for the logout user, we just implement this. We, this exactly the same thing, just delete the token and return the OK, and that's it, right? For our authentication, we also implement the protected route. So that's why at first we create the context. I'm creating the context file here, auth context dot tsx. Okay, in this context, actually we just copy this code, not too fancy. There is our auth state, and this is our auth context type. Login, logout, and refresh, right? And all are promising, I mean the void, promise the void. Okay, and the login actually get the two data, and actually two parameter as a email and password. And the auth context get it with the help of the create context. And for the get store token, actually we are using the local storage in memory session with the local storage. So get item in the session token, right? Then set the store token with the try catch, because there is no catching here. We are using the hard coded, so just a simple thing here. And this is the provider. In this provider is the children and the user. We are getting the user, and the type will be the auth state, and token we get the token from the server. We already implemented the auth token, right? Here function. Then okay, this function, and then the refresh, because immediately after login we need to refresh and redirect to the dashboard or any page we want. Okay, this is our server function, right? Yes, get user and get the current user. How to get the after the token? Okay, set data, set user, set token, right? And if this is not get, then everything will be null. I mean, when we are log out, so everything will be null. Will be everything clear. So here is the something we use the use callback for memorization, optimization purpose. Okay, this is a great example, great example for the beginner. Also, the we also use the use effect for the refresh, right? And this is our login, and this is our logout. With the login user and the logout, we just the get store token. So we just clear this logout token, and everything will be null. I mean the everything the our local storage data will be removed. I mean delete, right? This is our context, and that's it. And this is our use auth hook. Okay, now go to your root file. This is the document, right? So we are calling our auth provider here, right? Start. Yes. Okay. Great. So we already implemented the auth provider, right? Now create the login page. So create the login page, login.tsx. And in this page, we actually validate the search functionality. So this is the validate we are testing. Okay. Why? Because we need to redirect, right? Validate the object. I mean the redirect as it is a string, validating the search. Okay. Then we const equal use auth. Remember? And this auth it gives, actually it's give the login logout. We get the login, right? Also we are using we are import the use router from React. Actually it's coming from the React router. Okay, right? Another is const redirect from the use search hook, from this hook. Okay, and we also need the mutation part for import the sign in sign up. We'll also use this. Okay, great. Email and password. For the mutation, we are using the use mutation hook here from React query. Okay, in this mutation is totally simple, just async the login function. We get the login, and in this login we just pass our email and password. After the success, we navigate. I mean the redirect. Okay, redirect the page. That's it. Not a fancy thing here. Not too much implementing here for just a demonstration purpose. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Now, great. This is the login page. So maybe something. Okay, let's check first what is happening and what are showing here. So go to root layout. Okay, actually we already implemented, but where are we actually showing it? So just create the auth header. I mean the auth component, so we can show it. So create the component first. Component folder. Create auth header dot tss. Okay. In this auth header, we actually implement the auth functionality. Very basic part. Okay. Just simple thing we are implementing here. Auth coming from auth link router, and this function will be export default. Export default. Okay. And great. Now just copy this component and putting it in your root directory where all the navigation part are implemented, like error demo, where we actually implement the error demo. Maybe here, maybe here. Okay, maybe here. Let's see. Yeah, you see the login part. Click here. Did you see? We coming here. Remember, this is our route login. After click, see, it's working. Sign in with the demo user. See, we navigate to home page. And now when I click the logout, it's logout. Even when login and refresh, you see, because we are using the local storage, that's why it's not removed. After clicking the logout, it's removed, right? Great. Now we already implement the login part. So now implement the protected route. We already implement login auth header, right? Now create the protected route. So it would be um, protected. I mean, yeah, protected auth. Protected, actually, just given the protected dot tsx. Okay. Here we actually create the function. Nothing fancy. Okay, it's coming from auth, not this one. It's actually okay, this one. Okay. Okay, you see, just simple thing here. We are implemented the we get at first we destructure the user, and we check. We also check the location, user location from React router, and also checking the router. If this is a valid, then okay, it's redirect. Otherwise, it's redirect the login page. You see, we are using the user effect, and dependency will be the user, router, and location, right? If user not found, then null. Otherwise, return the children. And this is the redirect the location path name, right? The URL path and the location dot starts the actual URL where it's redirect. Great. Now create the dashboard page. Dashboard dot tsx. Okay. In this dashboard, it's just the UI, nothing fancy. Okay. Here, just the UI. So put it, and here is the things. It's coming from component protected. Great. Now you see it's showing the error because these route are not available. That's why the profile route and the settings route. So for that, in that case, we create the more two route actually. One is dashboard dot profile dot tsx. Okay, great. Another is dashboard dot settings dot tsx. Okay, did you see? Error is gone. For the profile page, this is the profile page, and for settings page, nothing more actually. And this is the settings page. Okay, dashboard settings page. Okay, let's see. Okay, we don't have any dashboard route. So go to your root directory. After the home page, just create the dashboard. Okay, and from this dashboard, it would be a dash viewer report. Notice whenever I try to navigate the dashboard, it's showing the login page. When login, it's showing page does not exist. Actually, the URL path is not correct. That's why it's showing. And this page actually this page. If you see, this is the actual page. The route does not exist whenever I click here. So now click. You see, now it's fine. Login. Okay. Maybe here is the something some issue are showing up because the every time we need to check. But click. You see, it's working. Fine. Overview, profile, settings, and it's changed out dashboard settings. Click dashboard profile. See? Okay, it's working fine. Great. Okay, this is our very basic authentication part we are implemented with the help of the server function, right? Server function, local storage, protected route, and sign in, sign out, right? And this is for the beginning, and this is a good example. Uh, it's really helped to understood how this React starter TanStack start actually working here, how to implement this component, server function, context. Okay, great. Okay, we already implement the authentication part, right? So clear everything. Now, finally, we implement the basic part. Now implement the file uploaded part with the help of server function. Okay, how it's taken. So go to your SSR folder. I think the theme color is changed. Just give me a second. I change the theme. Okay, I just change the file icon color. So create at first. Uh, okay, at first create the function. So create this is our upload file upload fn.ts. Okay. So here we are actually at first, very first, we create the schema, and I actually include this comment. This is important. Just understood what we are doing right now. Here, not here. Actually, copy this and here. Okay. You see, in this schema, there is a file base64 data URL, and this is actually convert our image into a base64 format URL format. Okay, and then create our upload function. This is our uploaded function. Okay, this is our uploaded function. What it does, the first is the chaining the input validator, then handling our the uploaded file, and how it handle this data actually destructure the file name, type, size, and the file base from this schema. Then for the preview purpose, we are using the type start with the image slash and this page URL. Actually, how it looks like, I'm just showing you the demo. So just stay with me, and this is the return part where we actually return the file name and the destructuring data. Uh, so you will already see that this is the how you can implement in the real world scenario, like the or you are storing the S3 bucket or any disk, like any cloud platform, right? Okay, now create the component. Actually, not component. We are not separating anything. Just file upload dot tsx. Enter. Is in it in the route folder. Why it's not file upload? Something is not working. Maybe. Let's check. File upload in the route.tsx file. Okay, somehow it's not generating anything. So let's see. Oh, our server is not connected, so that's why. Okay, npm run dev. Okay, now it's generated. Okay, that's why server is not connected. Okay, now here we are implementing our uploaded file. So this is totally UI based. So just I grab the code and bring it here and then tell you how it is implemented here. Okay. So for the server function, actually it's coming from file upload fn, right? For now, for the demonstration purpose, we are using this share scene component. Okay, I just copy all the component here, badge, button, card, input separate. Okay, so now the error is gone. Let's give you the short explanation. Actually, this is the file uploaded part. This is the client preview. This is the server preview. And this will be the meta, I mean the setting our metadata, and this is the mutation. And this mutation actually implemented or uploaded our file. Okay, and it's also ensure the data URL available or not. Okay, then this is the actual server function. We are set the all the name as we define, then return the response. On success, it actually set the meta and set the server preview with the expected value. For error, it's showing. Okay, so go to server. There is something you see somewhere else, home page. Okay, we actually didn't include it anywhere. That's why. So root directory, maybe file uploaded, right? So dashboard, copy this link and this file upload. Okay, remove. Maybe now it's showing here file upload. You see, and this is our uploaded file. Okay, upload the image. Click here. There is the image. You see, this is the client preview. Also check here. Okay, then upload. This is the server preview. Mutation. Here is the server part. You see, this is the types we are defining the image slash. Okay, sorry, this is the image slash then the 64-bit, and it actually convert the 64-bit format URL format. Okay, and this is the server part after uploading the server upload in the server. Okay, this is this file name, type, and size. How many size it is, and yeah. Okay, clean this again. If you are uploading, this is the client preview. After upload, it will be a server preview. Okay, great. We already cover most of the feature. So now we will cover the foundational of creating API routes, handling different HTTP method like get, post, put, or delete, and implementing the robust validation and the error handling. This is a powerful feature that lets you build the full stack application with a single undefined code base. Okay, so create everything, collapse, then routes. There is API folder. Did you see? In this API folder already I have two routes, users and the dynamic user. So at first moving to the user, and here is also a middleware. We will cover up the middleware after the implementing the API. So just now, just comment this code, and we actually just implementing this code different way. But before we are implementing, just comment this part. Okay, you see, this is the create file route, and it's automatically generated route for you. And in this route, there is a server. Okay, this is a property. Okay, and in this server property, there is a handler, and this handler have a method as a get, post. I mean the CRUD operation. I mean the get, post, put, delete. In this get, we are requesting. But for this here, I actually changed the code format because actually I changed the code. Get simplify version. Okay, this is our simplify version, and we are input this from not Axios. Re, re, da, red Axios. Okay. Then, okay, you see, just simple console log. Yeah, this is render on the server only. You can get, okay, we will check it. Then the fetching the data as like we are fetching data in our server function. But for the REST API, we use the get method and then sliding it into a 10 because we don't need to load all the list of users. Maybe there is a hundreds of users. So we just storing the 10 users and then return with the JSON. This JSON is not an ordinary JSON. This JSON's import from um, TanStack Start. Okay, React Start JSON. Okay, that we are mapping through everything for listed out. Great. This is the one example, and another example is the post. Get this post. You see this post method also validating the schema. You see the schema, then we are parsing this schema, save parse for the body after the creating something, sending request. So we also need to check it, right? Otherwise, uh, there is a showing an error. Okay, and this is a try catch method, and this is the regular method we commonly use the API. So this is the regular part, and exist.post, then passing the API, and also pass the parse data. Then created the data. I mean the create from the registered data, and after restoring everything, then send this data into JSON format. Do it like that, and the status code will be 201 when this is return successful. Otherwise, return the error. Okay, and this is a very good example for the beginner. And I try to cover up all the basic part and necessary part that can help you to initially start. Okay, then let's check. You already implement the authentication, basic authentication, file uploading, right? Server function, API function, right? So now we are implementing the middleware, and the middleware allows you to run code before your router handles, making it perfect for tasks like the logging request, checking for authentication, right? Or adding data to the request, right? For the context is the mechanism that allows you to pass that data from your middleware to your handler in a clean type-safe way. Actually, right now, so before, okay. Now we already comment the fewer code here from here, right? So just because this is our user, right? Isn't it? So let's create something called logging middleware, and this is for uh this middleware actually for the user middleware, right? This is our user fetching the list of users. But middleware actually we are use most of the use case is the login or protected route, right? So create middleware first. You can just call this function the create middleware, and you can call it anywhere. So just I'm creating this for the simplified version. I'm call the middleware and utility function utility files folder .ts, and in this folder in this file we are creating the export const logging our logging middleware. Okay, in this middleware we actually uh, calling the server function actually async, then next. Okay, and this middleware import from start TanStack Start. Okay, so here is the catchy part. Like this is also give a next and request. Okay, so how does it work? Just think start, this is the date, current date, and the URL from the URL instance, request dot URL, right? Just a simple thing we are implemented here. Request we get the URL from, and then this is just a simple console log showing in the terminal, and this is the result.
from the next. Okay, that's it. There is not a big deal here. Also, for the auth middleware and like this one, just think, and this one coming from our maybe get session by token. We didn't create any session yet, maybe not, right? Go to your or server login user. No, we didn't create anything yet. So just create this function, utility function. Just get the session by token, and what it does, get session, right? Session dot get. Okay, this session from here, mapping here, and that's it. So this is the get it part. Okay, it's coming from our server, and that's it. So we just implement the auth dot middleware, right? Okay, now go to your API. This is our API. This is our user for this testing purpose. And this is the middleware, right? In this middleware, just pass our first middleware is the logging middleware, and second middleware was auth middleware, right? You see how easy it is? Just passing the middleware in this middleware parameter as a parameter, okay, and it's automatically handled by TanStack router. We don't need to do anything here. So this is a big deal. Otherwise, we also maintain this middleware, how it's work, and lots of things we need to do behind the scene after creating the middleware. In Next.js, there is a middleware.ts file at first we create, then we passing the necessary, I mean, implementing the necessary logic, right? Anyway, and this is a great example. Also, in the user, if you see there is something interesting. This is a really interesting part. If you see, and this is the part actually where we need sometimes the context. Um, you see, this is the get method. Some going to the put method, and here we actually get the context also from here. I mean context. Okay, and what it does, this context. This context object, actually we can check for context.user, and after the context.user check to ensure the user is authenticated before allowing them to update or resource. It's clean, type safe, and keep our route handler is cleaner. Suppose just think you are trying to implementing the context, and like here, const user equal context.user. Okay, and for this context, just actually it's there is this problem because of the type, so use context as any, the error is gone. Okay, now we get the context, right? So now we can console log the any error if we want to use, because we get the object from this context. If you just hover over it, you get the user dot the information, the ID, email, and name. You see, and this is really great. Without doing extra task, it's automatically give you the uh, all thing here with the context. Okay, but something when we are implementing this middleware, uh, suppose this middleware, actually this create middleware is very powerful. Remember this create middleware is too much powerful, because when we use this create middleware to define our middleware, this one is pretty simple, right? It's log the request method and path, just that's it. Request method and path, and call this next to pass to control to the next middleware or the route handler, and then log how long the request took. This is great for debugging and monitoring your API. And this is a very good example. And that's why I think I really love this TanStack Start, because this is really a great opportunity for Shine. Okay, we already finish all the feature today. Like we actually, what we implement today? We actually implement the foundation like dev server, SSR, and project structure. We already cover up this part, and routing. For the routing is static, dynamic, nested. typeset and the navigation part. We already covered this, right? Also implemented the server function like type call, jot validation, file upload, and also implement the React query with the caching, tab tools, and prefetch, right? Also check the user list, details, search. We totally implemented. Also implemented the form and mutation for the create, edit, update, like invalidation, optimistic update, right? We also implement this part for optimistic, and also implement the advanced pattern like the pagination, infinity scroll, parallel dependent queries at a time. The user and post are loaded without any problem, right? Without any issue. Also implement the SSR and performance like the loader, streaming, error boundaries. Also implement the basic authentication with the login, auth context, protected routes, logout, right? Also we check the auth route, API route like the get, post, put, delete, dynamic params. Also check. Also we see the, I mean, we already implement the middleware and the context for the logging, or the app context if we want, right? Some little bit optimization we also did for code splitting, like sometimes we prefetch the user, just few component like we split the code and caching, turning, right? So this this almost 11 feature, I mean 11 types of feature we actually implemented today. This is really a good tutorial. I actually try to cover up mostly common or most commonly used every day when we try to project, we implemented it in a real project, and this is a good example. Okay, and so if this end-to-end build help, like the video, subscribe, and share with your teammate. Got question or ideas? Drop them in the comment. I did love to help. Thanks for watching the full TanStack Start tutorials. And okay, happy coding.